I woke up to 7 auto loan approved notifications pinging my phone like angry HOA violation fines. I never applied for any vehicle. My HOA president, Karen Whitaker, had texted the night before. Just helping you out, sweetie. But my credit took a hit, so we used yours for the community vehicle. It's in your name now, for better rates. Bless your heart. My name is Emma Thompson. I live in a modest 3-bedroom in Willow Creek Estates, Oregon, where the rent equivalent HOA dues are just cheap enough that I can almost afford my freelance graphic design life. I shoot lookbooks for local boutiques, design logos for startups that usually fold, and survive on black coffee and meticulously budgeted grocery runs. Every extra dollar goes into my studio fund, a high-yield savings account I've fed for 3 years, skipping vacations, driving a 15-year-old sedan, dreaming of a small commercial space downtown with north-facing skylight, so I can stop shooting product photos against my living room wall. My life was a carefully balanced equation of sacrifice and quiet aspiration until 2:07 a.m. It wasn't a call. It was a vibration storm. 7 notifications from Brightline Motors. Auto loan approved. Congratulations. Emma Thompson. Financing for $48,900 luxury SUV complete. I sat bolt upright, heart hammering. $48,900. Had to be spam. I didn't own a bicycle, let alone a car worth more than my yearly freelance income. I opened my banking app. The balance was gutted. 5 pending $1,000 deposits to Brightline Motors marched down the screen, plus a cleared $312 temporary insurance charge. The money was already vanishing. Adrenaline iced my veins. My wallet, where was my debit card? It lived on the kitchen counter. I ran, flipping lights. Not there. Not in yesterday's jeans. Not in my work bag. 3 days earlier, at the community grocery store, Karen Whitaker had been ahead of me in the express lane. She'd huffed dramatically, patting her pockets. "Oh, Emma, thank goodness you're here. This stupid machine won't take my chip, and I left my main card at the HOA office. Can I just use yours real quick? I'll pay you back tonight." "Sweetie." The terminal flashed error. I handed it over without thinking. "I know your PIN." "Honey, it's fine," she called over her shoulder. Punching numbers. She promised to slip it right back in my bag. I've been rushing a deadline and never checked. I called the bank's 24-hour fraud line. After terrible hold music, a tired rep said the transactions were valid, chip and PIN, physically present, correct PIN entered. "This isn't fraud, ma'am. It's an in-person authorized pattern. You'll have to contact the merchant in the morning." I hung up, grabbed my keys, and drove 25 minutes up the winding roads from my cul-de-sac to the sprawling manicured lawns of Karen's executive home, the biggest in Willow Creek Estates. The one with the triple garage and perfectly edged rose beds no one dared let grow half an inch too long. Cars lined the street, BMWs, a new Lexus, a pristine vintage convertible. My rattling sedan looked pathetic behind a gleaming black SUV. Lights blazed inside. Smooth jazz and laughter drifted out. They were having an HOA board celebration. I used the spare key Karen had graciously given every resident for emergencies. The smell of roasted rosemary and expensive wine hit me. My father figure equivalent, Karen's husband Glenn, the HOA treasurer, stood by the fireplace swirling whiskey in new crystal tumblers, laughing with neighbors in golf shirts. Karen was a blur of motion, carrying a platter, hair perfect, new dress sparkling. I stood in the entryway in sweatpants, vibrating with panic. Glenn spotted me first. His smile faltered, then snapped back, artificially bright. "Emma, what a surprise. Kiddo, you look like you've seen a ghost." Before I could speak, Karen swooped in, gripped strong on my arm, steering me away from guests. "Everyone, look who's here. Our sweet new resident Emma." She's just in time to hear about my volunteer work for the Willow Creek Outreach Fund. The Guatemala mission trip is fully funded. It's a miracle. She pushed me into the empty kitchen. Her smile switched off like a light. What are you doing? Emma, you're making a scene. You look a mess. My bank account is empty, I said, voice hollow. Someone bought a $48,900 SUV with my debit card, the one you borrowed. She turned to the sink, arranging plates. Don't be dramatic. I told you I put it back. You lost it. It's not my fault you're so disorganized. Now excuse me. I have guests. I blocked her. Where's my card? Karen. We stared. Jazz swelled from the dining room. She sighed theatrically. Fine. She marched to the foyer. Grabbed her designer handbag, the one costing more than my monthly dues, and dug inside. I don't know why you're accusing me after everything the HOA has done for you. I reached past her, dumped the bag upside down. Receipts, lipstick, keys, and my floral debit card clattered out, plus a folded carbon copy receipt from Brightline Motors for $48,900 luxury SUV. Glenn appeared in the doorway. Whiskey paused. Karen's placid mask shattered. I was helping you, she said, voice glacial. That rusted death trap sedan of yours is a community eyesore. I was thinking of you, and the HOA needs a reliable vehicle for events. We put in your name to build your credit. We're making the payments. It's a gift. They had gifted me $48,900 debt secured with my stolen money. Glenn stepped between us. Benevolent treasurer voice smooth. Emma, you're jumping to conclusions. We had a procurement issue with the Outreach Fund, storm relief, generators, tarps, temporary loan, reimbursed next week. I picked up receipts, $400 watch, $650 jacket, $250 custom plate, WCU1. Are these generators? Glenn, is this a vanity plate for a generator? The silence was thick. Karen snatched the papers. We're allowed to buy things for ourselves. And we secured a better interest rate using your clean credit. We're doing you a favor. From the dining room, a neighbor peeked. Karen, everything all right? Karen transformed instantly, shoulders slumped. Perfect tear welling. Oh, Glenn, she's not well. She's doing it again. She pulled her phone. Voice projecting manufacture grief. Aunt Carol, I'm so worried. It's Emma. Another episode. She's unstable, making wild accusations. Please pray for her. In 30 seconds, she'd recast me as the crazy homeowner. Guess pitted Karen, not me. Glenn looked at me with cold disappointment. You should go home. Emma, you've upset the president enough. I snatched my card and the hidden photocopy folded in tissue, the purchase agreement with my Trace signature. I left my key on the hall table and walked out, leaving the Jazz mocking behind me. 2 blocks away under orange streetlight, I unfolded the paper. Brightline Motors contract. My name, my forged signature at the bottom. I called the dealership at 3:30 a.m. Rick answered groggy. MS. Thompson, you were just here this afternoon with your HOA president. You test drove it. Loved the handling. Signed everything. Can't cancel same day. An imposter wearing my ID. They had scammed my driver's license months earlier when Karen helped me with HOA paperwork. Traced signature. Witnessed by her friend Eleanor on the board. My credit monitoring app pinged. Hard inquiry. New account. Score plunged from 760 to 640. The studio lease dream evaporated. This wasn't just theft. Karen Whitaker had stolen my future while smiling and enforcing grass-length rules on everyone else. I didn't sleep. At 8 a.m., I walked into the downtown police precinct. Fluorescent lights buzzed. I laid out everything, the notifications, drain account, purse dump, photocopy. The detective leaned back. Weary. MS. Thompson, she had possession of your card and PIN. You gave it voluntarily. This is a neighborhood dispute. Civil matter. Family, HOA, helping. Sue her. He handed me a mediation pamphlet. I dropped in the trash. The bank was worse. Manager listened. Called fraud department. The PIN was entered. Pattern of permission established. Can't reverse. I went home. Adrenaline gone. Dread hollow. I pulled full credit reports. Worse than feared. New SUV loan. 2 credit cards opened in my name with billing address changed to Karen's mansion. $3,000 consumer loan for home improvement. My score in free fall. Then an email from Brightline. Regarding your baseless fraud claim, see attached authorization you signed in person. The PDF showed my Trey's signature. Witnessed by Eleanor Vance. Karen's closest board ally. Conspiracy. Credit bureaus demanded police report. Police called it civil. Perfect trap. I called legal aid. Marisol Grant answered sharp. We met in the park. I spilled everything. She tapped the authorization form. This is felony forgery. Not the card. Change the axis. Fight as a compromised financial entity. Not a harassed resident. She gave the plan. Freeze credit with security PIN. Extended fraud alert. Change every password. Go dark. No calls. No texts. Become a black hole. I executed. Fortress built too late. Fallout hit fast. Missed a big client deadline. Contract paused. Landlord for the studio space. Check my credit. Declined. Can't hold it without cash deposit. Dream gone. The smear campaign started. Karen's phone tree lit up. Aunt Carol left tearful voicemail. Karen is a saint. She's worried about your mental stability. Apologize. A vague Facebook prayer request for a dear neighbor struggling with emotional distress and accusations. Everyone knew it was me. The final blow. Process server at the coffee shop. Emma Thompson. You've been served. Temporary restraining order from Karen and Glenn Whitaker. Alleged I stormed her home. Threatened violence. Now harassing the board. Hearing in 3 days. Marisol came. Don't react. Be a statue. Karen took the stand. Cried actual tears. Lace handkerchief. Only want to protect the community and her. She's troubled. Judge granted permanent 1-year order. Stay 500 feet from Karen. Her home. The HOA office. Gavel struck. Karen's tears vanished the second judge left. Triumphant cold stare across the courtroom. She had won. I moved to friend Tara's loft. War room. Whiteboard timeline. First fraudulent card. Then loans. SUV. TAC contract. Authorization PDF. Luxury receipts. Pattern stretch back months. Tara scrolled Karen's Instagram. Pious lunches. Blessed charity posts. One photo. Karen in new designer handbag the day she borrowed my card. Geotag at the mall. Arrogance staggering. I created an anonymous Facebook group, financial recovery support. Posted my story. First response, cousin like neighbor Miles. Exactly what Karen did to me 3 years ago. Co-signed phantom loan. Then call me unstable. Then Aunt Ruth equivalent. Retirement fund drained. Then elderly Parkers. $7,000 cash to Guatemala well that never existed. Karen blamed their failing memories. Uncle Owen equivalent, the family ghost exiled 20 years ago, answered in Seattle. Glenn's a gambler. Karen's the operator. She provides the respectable face. Cries on cue. Picks pockets of the HOA treasury and residence. Perfect parasites. It clicked. The outreach fund was their personal ATM. Tara found the church. HOA website. Karen had admissions. Glenn had a finance. Reverend-like board chair Cullen, their golf buddy. Fortress. Then the $3,000 loan trace. Travel agency confirmed one-way tickets to Belize. No extradition. Relax banking. Exit plan. They were cashing out. Draining HOA dues and my credit. Framing me as crazy so I'd hold the bag after they vanished. A blocked text. Stop digging or you lose more than money. Threat real. Next morning, my apartment broken into, deadbolt unlocked. Financial files surgically removed. Nothing else touched. Building cameras offline for maintenance. My sit-in spray-painted liar in red across the driver's side. Public branding. Karen's mass email hit every resident. Every relative. My client list. Our beloved neighbor Emma is in severe psychological crisis, paranoid delusions about money. We filed the order to protect her. Clients terminated contracts. 3 remaining freelance jobs gone. Tara's boyfriend Mark had all 4 tires slashed with note. Tell your girlfriend to stop helping the liar. Last warning. I packed. Became homeless. Jobless. Toxic. Cheap motel. Called Owen. He had casino receipt linking Glenn's $20,000 marker to the day my loan hit. Direct line. I went fully dark. Disposable phone. Air-gapped laptop. Encrypted email. Ethan Rohr, retired fraud investigator, met me at 5 a.m. Diner. He read the timeline. Spreadsheets. Glenn launders through gambling. Karen's the real operator. Tax-free HOA donation spent on handbags. We proved tax evasion. IRS doesn't care about helping the community. They care about undeclared income. Instructions. Stay electronically naked no more. High security credit PIN. Build 2 spreadsheets. Money in, HOA dues and donations. Money out, luxury purchases synced to Instagram posts. I contacted victims anonymously. Gathered scans. Perfect unbroken lines. $7,000 Parker donation, June 3rd. $3,200 Amex transfer to Karen's card, June 4th. Instagram little treat at mall same afternoon. Repeated 8 times. Casino flights. Designer watches, all matched. Ethan got dealership footage pretending to be state licensing board. Grainy video. Karen in wide-brimmed hat signing. Glenn behind her rocking on heels. Salesman Rick described the older guy pushing the deal. Zoom contract showed ink bleed, traced forgery. Not natural signature. Forensic proof. We loaded the cannon. 2 whistleblower reports. Oregon Department of Revenue and IRS criminal investigation. Plus copies to state AG consumer fraud. Police chief, bypassing compromise Captain Huxley. Glenn's poker buddy. And independent HOA board members. 5th envelope mine. Mass email to Karen's entire list with 120-page master file attached. Scheduled for 10 a.m. The day they try to title the SUV. They panicked. Bank holds on wires. For sale sign on their mansion got red, price reduced sticker. They called Bright Line frantic. Emma's leaving the country unexpectedly. Expedite title transfer. Appointment moved to tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. With mobile DMV agent on site. They were trying to liquidate the biggest evidence before fleeing. Detective Mara Kiading, the good cop, got the DMV lock and search warrant. They can't flip what they can't title. At 10 a.m., my scheduled email detonated. Hundreds of residents, clients. Press opened the 120-page ledger of forgery, embezzlement, flight risk. Church, HOA, board called emergency meeting. Karen and Glenn suspended. I watched from across the street as their Lexus screeched out of the driveway. Suitcases thrown in, phones exploding with notifications. They fishtailed toward Bright Line Motors, last desperate hope for cash. I followed. Tara already in position with hidden camera. 2 federal sedans blocked the exit. Karen burst inside, clutching forged papers. Where's the DMV agent? Title transfer now. Rick stammered. VIN locked, pending criminal investigation. Karen hissed. Delete the logs. Delete the footage now. Tara's mic caught every word, ordering destruction of evidence. CI agents entered. Badges out. Federal warrant. IRS criminal investigation. They seized computers. Original contract. Karen shoved the authorization form at them. My neighbor approved it. Look, witnessed. The agent didn't need a magnifying glass. Ma'am, I can see the graphite trace outline and unnatural ink pressure from here. It's a forgery. Her phone exploded with buzzing, the mass email hitting, replies flooding. How could you? Board meeting called. Suspended immediately. Glenn in the parking lot saw the cuffs. Try to reverse. Police car blocked perfectly. Officers yanked him out. Inside, steel clicked on Karen's wrists. She looked through the glass, straight at me. No tears. No performance, just empty rage. I held her gaze. Steady. Silent. The monarch's kingdom burned. The agents led Karen out. Glenn sagged on the pavement. Defeated old man. Rick the salesman looked ready to faint, but started cooperating fully. Statements. Original logs. Everything. Detective Keating's team hit the mansion simultaneously. Safe opened. Glenn's private ledger. Decades of casino debts matched to HOA withdrawals. Real mission fund book identical to my spreadsheet. Every donation. Every luxury receipt. They had kept perfect records of their own con. By noon, the HOA board released public statement. Full audit. Accounts frozen. Karen and Glenn permanently removed. Local news vans arrived. The unstable homeowner narrative collapsed under 120 pages of cold facts delivered to every resident who had prayed for me. My credit freeze held. New security pin meant nothing moved without me. Clients who fired me started emailing apologies. Some even offered contracts back. The studio landlord called. Credit report now clean on our end. The fraud flags are removed. Space is yours if you still want it. Tara's boyfriend got new tires paid by insurance after the threat note went into evidence. I stood in the bright line lot as the SUV, still in my name but now seized, was towed under federal order. Karen's wide-brimmed hat sat on the passenger seat like a discarded crown. The custom plate WC1 mocked her. Owen texted, "You did it, kid. They're not eating their own anymore." The system finally bit back. Miles and the Parkers messaged gratitude. Their stolen money would be clawed back through restitution. Even Eleanor Vance, the witness, flipped once the forgery proof dropped, turned state's evidence for a lighter sentence. The next weeks were paperwork and depositions, but the satisfaction was pure. Every ridiculous HOA fine Karen had ever issued, the 0.5-inch grass violations, the approved paint color only citations that bankrupted retirees, now looked laughable against her own crimes. Residents started posting old violation letters with Karen's signature next to the IRS arrest photo. Dark humor rippled through the community group chat. Bless her heart, she was just helping herself the whole time. I finally moved into the Alder Street studio. North-facing skylight poured clean light on my new desk. The first logo I designed was for a nonprofit helping identity theft victims, pro bono. My credit score climbed back towards 760. The sedan got traded in, not for luxury, but for something reliable I actually chose. Karen and Glenn sat in federal holding. Belize tickets canceled. The one-way flight never left the tarmac. Their mansion went into foreclosure after liens for embezzled dues. The perfect suburban kingdom, manicured lawns, enforced uniformity, polite smiles hiding theft, cracked open for everyone to see. At the preliminary hearing, I watched from the gallery. Karen, no longer in designer dresses, wore orange. No tears this time. Glenn stared at the floor. The judge read the charges: aggravated identity theft, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, felony tax evasion, evidence tampering, bail denied, flight risk proven by the tickets, and packed suitcases. Outside the courthouse, a small crowd of former victims waited. Miles hugged me. "You didn't just save yourself. You saved all of us." The Parkers pressed a check into my hand. their recovered donation. Now seed money for the studio. I didn't cry. I smiled, the first real one in months. Back in Willow Creek Estates, the new HOA board, elected by terrified residents, rewrote the bylaws. No more single president with unchecked power. Term limits. Transparent finances. Grass could grow a whole inch now without fines. The community finally breathed. I drove past Karen's old mansion. For sale sign gone. Yellow crime scene tape still fluttered. The rose beds, once perfect, were already wilting. A single dandelion pushed through the cracks in the driveway. I laughed out loud. The tyrant who fined dandelions was gone. Months later, the trial made national news. HOA president's suburban empire of fraud collapses. Prosecutors played the dealership footage in court. Karen's voice ordering Rick to delete evidence echoed. The trace signature zoomed on the big screen. Spreadsheet after spreadsheet linked donations to designer purchases. Casino receipts. One-way Belize tickets. The jury took 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing day, I sat front row. Karen stood, voice shaking for the first time without performance. I only wanted to help the community. The judge cut her off. You help yourself to the tune of hundreds of thousands. 10 years federal prison. Restitution to every victim. No early release. Glenn got 7 years. Their assets liquidated. Every stolen dollar tracked and returned. I walked out into sunlight. No more restraining order. No more shadows. My phone buzzed. New client inquiries pouring in. The studio thrived. I even started a side channel telling HOA horror stories, anonymized. Of course. The first video? How one Karen almost stole my entire future and how I stole it back. Willow Creek Estates changed. The new board invited me to speak at the annual meeting. I stood at the podium where Karen once ruled. Rules are fine. Power without accountability isn't. Applause real, not polite. Residents who once pitted Karen now thanked me. The unstable label erased. Driving home, I passed the old dealership. The luxury SUV sat in the impound lot. Auction sticker on the windshield. I smiled. That car bought with my name, my money, my future would fund restitution checks to every victim. Poetic. Tara and I celebrated with cheap wine on her loft roof. You went from black hole to supernova, she said. I raised my glass. To every homeowner who finally fought back. Owen flew in for the party. Gruff as ever. Told you. You're a Lee, I mean. A fighter. We laughed at the old lies. The ex-family ghost, now family by choice. The last loose end, Captain Huxley. Internal affairs opened after the poker game ties surfaced. He resigned before charges. The good old boys' network cracked too. I stood on my new studio balcony one evening. North light fading golden. The city stretched below. No more HOA watching my every blade of grass. My credit report clean. My name on again. The savings account full. Somewhere in federal prison, Karen probably still rehearsed her "I was just helping" speech. But no audience. No tears. No escape. Justice didn't just turn, it laughed while it turned. The Karen who ruled with fines and forged smiles now wore a number. The residence she tried to bury rose higher than the manicured lawns she once controlled. And somewhere in the suburbs, another HOA president is reading violation letters tonight, wondering why residents suddenly started asking for receipts. They're watching. They're learning. Because one homeowner fought back, smart, silent, patient, and the whole rotten system felt the tremor. Thank you for listening to this HOA Karen identity theft story. Drop where you're watching from the comments. I read every single one. If this gave you the same how wild furious satisfaction it gave me, smash that subscribe, like, and share button so more people see what real suburban justice looks like. See you in the next HOA drama, because trust me, There's always another Karen. Stay vigilant. Homeowners,